So I will now hand over to Kendall for
Thank
his
you,
speech.
Wendy. Right. Hello, everyone. I'm Kendall Pett, and I have the pleasure of becoming your district governor for this area of Beds, Bucks and Herts in about 8 weeks' time on July the 1st. So welcome to the first of these fairly short meetings, which are being held on Thursdays, which form part of this year's district assembly, which we've deliberately broken up into small parts for that. The sessions focus on different topics so people can go to the presentations which interest them. The sessions are being videoed and the slides of
You
today
haven't written
are
yourself
available
a
now.
script? Oh, for God's sake.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm going to mute everyone, and then Kendall, if you unmute yourself. Okay.
Right, can you hear me, Wendy?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, right. So, yeah. These sessions, as I said, are being videoed and the slides for today are available now as a top item on the district bookshelf, and we'll talk about the district bookshelf later on. The aim of district assembly is to inform, educate, and hopefully entertain you all, both newer Rotarians and more long-standing ones, about how's Rotary going forward and what opportunities there are for you. The themes and the messages we're going to talk about, as you'll see, are not changing a lot from the ones we've had over the last few years. And to a certain extent, they are organised common sense in the sense of these are what you would hope an organisation such as Rotary would be doing. We have a district plan to help us going forward, which was circulated and presented about a month ago at the district forum, and which we'll refer to across these sessions on that. The topics tonight are going to be membership and public image. I'll start with an overview, linking it back to the district plan and the messages which we're all keen to get out there. And then I'll hand over to Amanda and David, who'll give more information and help you as to how to develop these areas for your club's benefit. I particularly like a comment I heard recently that without members, we're not going to achieve anything, and that public image is really all about public engagement and getting people enjoying and understanding Rotary. So, the Rotary message this year from Yinka, who is the incoming international president, is about membership. It's about retaining existing members. There are a large number of people who've been in Rotary for a number of years, and they're clearly enjoying it, and we would like to maintain their particular experience of Rotary. What we'd also like to help do is retain new joiners. These are people who've joined within the last 2 years. And there's a particularly worrying statistic that about half the people who join leave within those first 2 years of Rotary. So we really need to think about that. And the reason that they leave is because of boredom. Their clubs aren't being particularly active or within doing service projects. And the other thing which we need to think about is attracting new members. That is getting people to come into the clubs or setting up new clubs. I'll expand on that a bit more in the next slide. The other message is don't forget about polio and foundation, which is Rotary's charity. Don't forget that it's these are areas which we would like to keep sustaining and keep supporting. And above all, have fun. We're in this to have good to improve the world, but also have fun in doing it. This isn't hopefully this will never be drudgery. So this is what we're trying to do to make it easier for you to do Rotary on that. In this picture coming up, we have another pictorial representation of Yinka's message. Yinka is clearly the gentleman in the middle. And you can see that he is living the part. He's got an End Polio Now badge on, and he's also got a badge on to support foundation. I'm the guy on the left, and this was taken at the European and African conference, which anyone could go to. This one was in Brussels. The next one is in Rotterdam. And the lady on the right is my wife, who came along to find out more about Rotary. And she was so impressed with what she found out, she decided to join Rotary. However, there's an interesting little twist to this, that we live in East Herts. You can only do Rotary, go to Rotary clubs in East Herts between Monday lunchtime and Wednesday lunchtime. She works in London during those periods of time and can only attend meetings on Thursday and Friday. So at the moment, she is a direct member, which means that she can go to clubs as and when she can, but is not directly associated with a Rotary club, because there's the problem that there isn't a club meeting when she is around. And that's certainly something to think about in your areas. Are you sort of fully meeting the modern working environment where people move around or don't work 9 till 5? So this is a representation of Rotary and what we're trying to do and how the things to meet together. For those who want a word for the day, this is a tetrahedron. It's a four-sided shape, and you've got Rotary, and you can see how the things connect together. So you need people. Once you've got people, you can do projects. If you've got projects, you need to publicize them, and you'll get back people again. But you also need to think about planning, and that can be hopefully for about a year going forward. What can be very off-putting to new members when they come is when they join a club and you ask them, and they ask, what can we do? And they're told at this time of year, our next event is Santa Sleigh, which is 6 months away. So think about events which you can do, or also bear in mind that when you join a Rotary club, you're not only joining that club, you're joining district, national and international. And there's plenty of other events going on which people can contribute to there. So the next thing is what are the key elements of membership? It's not just about numbers game in this. What we want people to have is a positive membership experience, and that people get the most out of Rotary. And also to make Rotary easy to do and understandable. Rotary has over 1 million members, and so by definition has to have a structure which has some complexity to it if you're operating over 100 countries. But what we aim to do is make it easy for people to operate and do good work within their own local areas and within their own clubs within that. So we talked about membership and why are we pushing forward so much on membership. This is a plot of I've just noticed district spelt wrongly, so apologies for that at the top. So this is the membership on the left hand side. We've got the number of Rotarians, and the right hand side the year. Roughly speaking, in a 10-year period, we've lost half our membership. So grossly abusing statistics, in another 10 years there won't be any Rotary left. In reality, it is slowing, but it's still there. It will be that Rotary's numbers are dropping. Now, there's been immense good work done in this district to try to turn those numbers around by a variety of techniques of speaking to people, getting people into clubs on that. So we are turning the corner, but within this particular district, but overall within the United Kingdom, the numbers are still falling. So we ask you to think of yourselves, it would be a pity if all the good that you're doing as a Rotary club ends in your area. Think of the good work. It'd be good if you could keep that moving forward on that. As I said, we have a membership plan. We have an action plan. The action plan was published and is available, but this is the bit referring to membership and some of the bits which will come out a bit later in the talks today. We'll continue to use social media recruitment campaigns. These have been very, very successful in the clubs who've embraced them and used them. And stating the obvious, they're getting new members, different members. And of course, because they're coming through social media, these people are social media savvy. So as soon as they get a certain number of them in a club, the critical mass comes along and the club suddenly then expands out again as these new people bringing in new contacts. There's also corporate members, a way of attracting people in. We obviously do talk to one another with other districts, and the districts which are also increasing numbers or not having are going towards introducing corporate members. So we aren't particularly going to talk about corporate members tonight, but certainly we can come back to and talk to you about that. And noting in particular that town and parish councils are a particular good area to encourage to become corporate members. We aim to sort of start and charter 7 Rotary clubs across the district. That seems a tall order, but we've got 2 clubs areas identified and being worked on. And interestingly, 2 lunchtime clubs who've realised that they are not going to carry on forever in this format are now actively sponsoring clubs in a different format. And they're ones which meet early in the day and will also be meeting in the evening, but still doing service projects. We want to continue to support a membership team. On the whole, we find that as about half the clubs have an active membership lead within them. And we'd like to encourage more people to do that. And this is someone who takes an interest in membership and also takes an active interest in new members coming to that. We also will work to make certain that the clubs who wish to carry on will carry on. On at least 2 occasions now, I've walked in as assistant governor with a club saying they're going to close at the end of the year. And we say, well, that's been a great pity. You've been around for 50, 70 years, some of these clubs. We've been able to work with them to actually rejuvenate them and get new members in. And those clubs are still going on. Thinking for the future, Interact clubs are clubs roughly from 12 to 18-year-olds in that. They're a good way of introducing Rotary early, a good way of introducing the parents of the interactors to Rotary. What they are modelled upon Rotary principles, so therefore they do have to do on whole 2 projects a year, 1 local, 1 international. And the interesting hook for quite a few schools is the fact this meets the very difficult Duke of Edinburgh service commitments, because people are finding it very difficult to be able to fit this in a safe environment. Interact clubs meet that. And the other area we're suggesting we'd like people to get involved in is Rotary Community Corps. These are slowly building now as people see the advantage of these community corps, which mainly revolve around getting public liability insurance covered by Rotary, which can be quite excessive. I'm hearing £200 to £300 for quite minor events being quoted for public liability insurance. But if you form a Rotary Community Corps, be it a FATE, be it a Gardens Association, then you can use the Rotary insurance on that. So in summary, the aim is to do good with service projects, have fun and publicise it, get more members, and don't forget about supporting polio and the Rotary charity, which is foundation on that. I've talked a lot about the online district bookcase. There's a number of ways you can get to that. You can, if you use a QR code to actually scan the QR code, you can click when you access the slides, the Pavlou bit, or if you just Google Rotary Embeds, then Google knows that that is us, because our full name is Rotary Embeds Bucks and Hearts, and it's sort of about the second one down there. For some bizarre reason, if you use the Microsoft search engines, it doesn't work. Google knows who we are because it knows everything, and will get Rotary Embeds. And I say that's a very useful resource for you to pick up information on that. Just as the aim of these talks is to make not just tell you something exists, but how do you use it. I did have a question, well, what happens next? So this is the image that you will get of it. The important thing are the icons at the top when you click in. Depending on the system you have, be it an iPhone, Android, iPad, desktop, you may not get all these emblems. You will always get those 3 balls. So if you click on the 3 balls, you may bring up the other emblems. Sometimes the other ones are there. So you can email it by using the share function. You can download it to your hard drive as a PDF, and you can print it as a PDF on that. And that's a click to get you to the next page on that. So we are going to be having some future showcases coming up where people have opportunity to meet face to face and talk to members of the district team and to one another as well. It's very good networking. The next one is this Saturday at Shefford. Then we have a pause for the summer, and we resume again in these sort of areas in the next 6 months, starting from September. One's been confirmed, and just to explain where these areas, Redbourne is vaguely in the St Albans area. Brookman's Park, Potters Bar is down towards London. I think probably that. Houghton Regis is somewhere north of Dunstable. Bedford is quite open. Aylesbury, Chesham, that's more out to the west. And then the final one in 2027 says Hertford, Hoddesdon, but it's basically anywhere in the East Herts area from Hoddesdon out to Royston, where people would like to host a showcase. Because the advantage of hosting a showcase is you get to organise and collect any leads which come forward from that. And some clubs have been quite spectacularly good at that. I think Watford's in the lead with 7 new members because of the work they put into help with the showcase on that. Right, so in summary, as I say, do good, have fun and publicise, and don't forget Polio and Foundation. I'll now change gears. We move over to membership. We've talked a lot about membership, the importance of it. Amanda will now talk you through how to make your club irresistible to people and how to promote it. We're all, Amanda, myself, Dave Foote, are all quite happy to help you do your membership, as are other members of the district team. But it's about how to promote your club and get members. Amanda.
Hey, thank you, Kendall. Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. Okay. Right. So Kendall spoke about the Facebook social media campaign that we've been running for the past year. Some of you will have been receiving the leads that have been generated. We run it at various times. So the strategy we've been using is whenever we have a district showcase, we've been running campaigns around the areas that are directly around that, the area where we're hosting that showcase, so that you have the opportunity building up to that point to either invite them to your local club to meet your members, see how you run things, and also to come out to a district showcase closest to you so that you can show your prospective members that, Rotary is a much wider organization. It's not just local, it's district wide, and nationwide, and in fact global. So that's what we've been doing. We've also been identifying individuals who already align with our motto. So people who go online and they look at, they're very interested in charities, social action, social causes, and they're interested in doing good in the world. So those are the people that we're targeting when we do the social media campaigns. Yes, action and invitation. So something that's very important to do once you receive these leads is for you to get together a team of dedicated call handlers, maybe 3 or 4 people in your club who are quite personable, they like people, they've got engaging personality, shall we say. And basically you just ring them up. We find that using WhatsApp is a good way to get the conversation going. And then from there, you move them into inviting them into your club. Oh, we already mentioned about the showcase. It's a soft entry point to meet other people in the area who are who are part of the Rotary family, and we get to introduce them to other things that we do, like foundation, End Polio Now, um, things like the different youth competitions that we run. So anywhere from Young Chef to Youth Speaks, Young Artists, and you're able to figure out how, pick and choose which one is doable for your club. So yeah, there's a shelter box as well, which we do internationally. So yeah, it's a good place to get information on how to run these service projects. And then you've got things like what's that one called? Not shelter box. Oh, wrap up. That's something that's quite good and quick and easy to do in your club as a service project. So yeah, it's a good place to come and to find information and find out the best practices and what share contacts and what's working for you, what's not working for you, what's the best practice and up-to-date information on how to do things. So yeah, come to the next showcase and find out. And it's a great way to network with other clubs because, for instance, applying for district grants, you might not have enough funds. You might be able to club together with other clubs to come up with the money and the application, filling out the application. So yeah, come to District Showcase because it's a place to meet your other counterparts within Rotary and other clubs. And it's fellowship. There's pizza and there's these amazing Rotary waffles as well. And free tea and coffee. What else is there? Right. Let's go back a bit. Right. Something that's been coming up again and again is not a lot, but there's quite a few Rotarians that aren't really tech savvy. So because membership is important and we want to get people off on the right foot and we want to give them the tools that they need to make this a success, because in district we're all a family basically. It's not just district and local clubs. We've got to work together, and each of us in district, we're all members of other clubs ourselves. So I'm offering one-to-one support starting in June, in person once a month for the next 6 months, but you would have to come here to Welwyn Garden City. And I'll be training people on how to use things like Canva and how to use just some tips and tricks on how to manage your template website, how to maximize Facebook. Because remember, the people from the social media campaign, they already have some knowledge of Facebook and social media. So we need to keep that momentum going, and you must have, at the very least, have your club's Facebook page up to date with the best images that you could possibly get and make it engaging and inviting. So yes, I'll be offering that once a month from now until November this year. So I'd be inviting people who are Facebook page administrators and administrators for the templates websites, or just anybody in general who just wants to come along. And by doing this, I'm hoping by the end of it that you will have a revamped, refreshed, professional online front door, as it was for your club. That's the aim of the game, basically. So yeah, that's our strategy in membership to help support you in your club. So, yes. So, the next step is to take it back to your club and to just decide on who you would like as the designated lead, the contact to receive the data that's generated from the Facebook campaigns. And the next step would be to identify your dedicated team of call handlers. And number 3 would be to connect your digital admins with myself for this coaching session. That will be happening once a month. And let's connect your club with the new generation of volunteers so that we can grow. That's it. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
So, thank you very much, Amanda. That was very insightful. As you see, Amanda, we're setting forward to help you face-to-face initially on constructing and revamping your appearance of your websites and your Facebook, so you can then go forward and attract members and progress from there. We'll take questions at the end. So thank you again, Amanda. We'll now move forward on to, we talked a lot about the image and public engagement. We'll now hand over to David Foote, who'll take you through some of the good things and not so good things which people get up to with the public image of Rotary. David.
Thank you very much, Kendall. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm David Foote. I'm club secretary at Rotary Club of Dunstable. I'm also, as it says there, the public image lead for District 1260. Public image, then, what is it? Well, it's how does the public perceive us? There's 2 aspects to it. The first part is our branding, and the second part is our storytelling. So branding, what does that actually mean? Well, it goes back to an argument that occurred between me and Kendall and Jeremy Wyman about whose cow that actually was. And I'm convinced it's mine. I recognised it, and Kendall said, no, it's definitely his one. And then Jeremy chipped in that he thought it was his one. Well, those kind of arguments used to go on, and people identified whose cow it was by branding the back end of the cow with a very red hot iron. And the reason for doing that is that mark is indelible, and it proves beyond any doubt who that actually belongs to. So there's branding for you. We have, at great expense, a brand centre, and you'll note that the spelling of that is TER, because we are an American formed organisation, began over 120 years ago in Chicago, and the brand centre is a resource available to anyone and everyone that ensures that we get our branding correct. And that's the welcome page. All you need to do is, on any search engine, type in Rotary Brand Centre and it will take you there. You don't need any passwords, you don't need any security codes to get in. It's a free access, and simply pulling that little tab down in the middle, which, if you can see my mouse zooming around it, you click onto this, pull it down, and you can create your club logo. You can also pick up all sorts of resources, templates, and it says there downloads. So yeah, please check that out if you're not already familiar with it, the Rotary Brand Centre. So that is our brand, the word Rotary with a wheel to the right hand side of the word Rotary. Now on this version, we've got white lettering and a gold wheel, and you'll notice on the backing plate we've got the blue version down the bottom, and the blue one down the bottom has the word Rotary International within the wheel, and that was the original, and we are slowly moving towards this simplified brand without the word Rotary International inside the wheel. Even the foundation now has adopted the simplified version of the brand. So there's some examples how we can use that. On the left hand side is with the regular, so the Rotary International wheel, and you'll notice that there's a letter R in a circle just to the bottom right. So that's a registered trademark. It must not be altered in any way. You must not go in there and take out international and put your club name, which I saw recently. You must not put a Santa hat on the top of the wheel. You must not use that wheel as a wheel on a vehicle. So it is a brand, it is a registered trademark, and it needs to be used correctly. So you can use it in a various type, and you can do all of this on the brand center, white lettering, blue lettering, whatever fits, because not all items that you're going to use the brand on will it work in one form. So all of those are absolutely correct. The ones on the left are, as I say, the regular wheel, and the one on the right is the simplified wheel that we are migrating towards now. And we are a global organization, so we cover the whole world. We're in 200 countries, 36,000 clubs. Anywhere in the world you go, you should be seeing that brand, Rotary. Doesn't matter what language you speak, whether it's Roman lettering like we use, or Chinese, they still use ROTARY. And we had a little dispute with the Welsh a little while ago when they tried to put ROTARI, because that's how they do it in Welsh. But no, they had to change it back to the ROTARY. So it's a simple, recognised brand that is used consistently. It will help strengthen it. So this is the public image team for Great Britain and Ireland. The guy in the foreground with a big smile is Phil Dyer, and he is the Specialist Advisor team lead. The rest of the people in there are district leads and the Specialist Advisor team that are here to help you and your clubs tell the Rotary story better. And when we're telling the story, we're trying to get away from lining people up, handing over checks. We seem to have developed a name for ourselves of an organisation that gives away money. Well, that's one aspect of what we actually do, but we are people of action, and this is what we need to promote. So going back to what Amanda was saying about the Facebook advertising, these are the type of adverts that we are putting out there, and this is where people then say, oh yeah, I'd like to be part of that. You know, there's people of action getting on with doing things and having fun. So on the brand center, you can pick up these images. These exact images came from the brand center, and a real benefit of using the brand center material is you have got no risk of any infringement of copyright. That's a story for another day, but clubs have found themselves in very hot water and having to pay €500, and quite often, if they don't do it correctly the first time, €5,000 if they've infringed the copyright. Borrowing pictures is a no-no, so you need to either make sure that you know the origin of your pictures, ideally you take them themselves, or get them from the brand center. Okay. Yeah, my office, nice view out over the city. That's lovely. Floor to ceiling windows, nice furniture. Very proud of that. Oh yeah, and you notice there's an elephant in the room. How the hell did he get there? So the elephant in the room, we might as well talk about it. There's our wheel, which they brought in 1926, and we retired it in 2013. That's 13 years ago. And as it says there, and it tells you on the Learning Centre, using the brand wrongly weakens our brand. It confuses prospective members and donors and other supporters about who we are and how we operate. So if your club is still using the old wheel, it needs to stop, and it needs to stop right now. We will help you get your branding right. So there's a number of us here to assist with that. But it is actually a contravention of a trademark, so you must not be using the old branding. There is an exception, and that's anything like your club bell, and things that are historic, and any photographs that were originated before 2013. Now, brands do evolve, and if we look at the brands on the left, we recognise all of them, I'm sure, and you can see that there's a common theme that they're going towards using the word. And one that's not on that list is the RNI, the lifeboats, RNLI. They've actually put the word lifeboats underneath their logo now. The Scouts have done the same thing. So they rebranded a while ago, and within 2 months, every Scout pack in the whole country was compliant, because they dare not be compliant. So we've got some work to do to get our organisation up to the required standard. But we're under the watchful eye of Rotary International in Chicago. So, right, let's move it on. Let's go and have a look. I visited a club, and they'll remain nameless, but some of you might recognise. A club which, by their own admission, has had one new member join in the last 5 years. They don't think they're going to be existing in another 3 years' time. I walked into the room and I actually had to ask them, "Are you the Rotary Club?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, great," because on the approach to the building, on the way up the stairs to the meeting room, and inside the meeting room, there was absolutely no way of knowing that that was a Rotary Club meeting. Only 4 people in the whole room were even wearing name badges. And when I gave the president that sign to hold up for the picture, he said, "The reason that we don't have any branding is because you keep changing it." And I said, "Well, I've been in Rotary 10 years and they haven't changed it in that 10 years. And it turned out it's 2013 that they last changed it. And that was after almost 80 years. So that is our brand. And if we use it correctly and consistently, people will recognise us, because this is what we are. This is our mission statement. You can read that for yourselves. But the last part is the most important, changing ourselves. Okay. So when we're talking about name badges, anybody wearing one of those, and that's the new club down at Chesham Valley, they've kitted every member out with their name badges. Anyone wearing one of those around their neck, anyone approaching them, they're going to straight away know their Christian name, because that's nice and big, and we are a first name organisation. And straight away, there's no doubt that that person is a member of Rotary. So when we do the showcases that we've been talking about, no one can walk into that room and be confused on who we are. Everywhere you look, we're branded. The gilets that Kendall's got on, and Barbara Middleton on the left with her back to us, Rotary, People of Action, and the correct branding. All the way round, our pop-ups are explaining this is who we are and this is what we do. And then when you're doing the projects, get people branded, get them in the right clothing so that people know who they are. Get some flags, and we've got a huge resource at District that all clubs are entitled to borrow to maximise the storytelling. And while we were planting the crocuses on this picture here, people came along and asked us, "What are you up to?" And we told them about End Polio, and people donated to our foundation while we were there. They asked us, "Is there any way I can donate something to help you?" If we turn up just wearing civilian clothing, you know, no markings on it, no flags, people won't ask the questions. But smiling faces, branded properly, wearing the name badges, you're going to attract people to come and ask a question. "Tell me more about Rotary. I thought it was a washing line or a watch." And then we can tell them more. And get your identity out there. We do a thing in Dunstable Park, right by the bandstand. We give away tea and coffee and cake 3 Sundays through the summer. And then you'll see on the right hand side of the gazebo there's a collection bucket, because people don't like getting things for free. They're all suspicious, so they want to donate. And we explain to them, if they donate to End Polio, the wonderful thing is that the Gates Foundation will treble that donation. Our club will actually double it first, and we gift aid it, so it becomes £1 donation becomes £7.50. That's the kind of stories you need to be prepared to tell people. Okay, and then the crowds will turn up. So that was in Dunstable. Oh, hang on. No, it wasn't. No, that's Glastonbury. Sorry, I got that one wrong. Uh, so yeah, we like to have a laugh. We like to do good in the community. But when people approach these people, look, they've got the branding, they've got the name badges, they're smiling, happy people. They're going to straight away be engaging. So yeah, it's about making the difference in our communities as well as in ourselves. Going back briefly to the brand center, it will also tell you how to use it correctly. The colors that you can use. So Rotaract, they have a different color scheme. There's a protected area down the bottom, but this is all detail that you can pick up on the brand center. The point is, you've got one chance only to make a first impression. So get the branding right, get the storytelling right, and the rest of it will become easy. So if we get our public image right, we will bring in new members. If we bring in new members, we can do more work. If we do more work, we can support our foundation. And guess what? There's some more stories for the public image. So public image is really crucial to the success of Rotary's future. Okay, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. We what questions do people have? If you could use your down at the bottom, you can got something called reactions. You can click on that to wave something yellow, as in the hand will appear automatically.
I'm not seeing any hands up at the moment. There's no questions in the chat box either. You've obviously done such a good job, they've got no questions for you.
I'm sure they're thinking about it. Don't be embarrassed to ask a question, because the only stupid question is the one you don't ask.
Okay,
And I was
I
checking
can,
to
sorry, I can see Roy is waving at me.
yes,
So
wave.
Roy,
Off you go,
if-
Roy.
if you'd like to unmute and ask your question. You need to unmute yourself, Roy.
Oh, it's on that? Yes.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. But basically, Amptill and District Rotary Club, since I joined, we've had, which was 4 years ago, we've had 3 new members, one of whom left us virtually after about 3 months. So in the course of 4 years, we've only recruited 3 new members. One of the discussions is the cost of membership. And I don't know whether I should bring this up, but there is a feeling within the club that the £120 that goes to our total subscriptions, of that, I believe 85%, £85 goes to Rotary International, and only a small amount comes back to the club. And I worked out that to belong to Rotary, it would cost an individual, if they attend the 3 meetings a month, the food is £19, and so the total per month is £67. And there are some individuals who find that a lot of money. Are Rotary aware of that? And there is another feeling is that Rotary International seems distant from the club itself.
I'll start with that and ask the others to chip in. First thing to think about is that nowhere in Rotary does it say you have to have a meal. So, and that is very much being addressed in the more newer club setup, which deliberately are being set up without the meal component in it. So the
Yeah.
meal component as such isn't something, it's a voluntary, not voluntary contribution, it's people's entertainment. It's not directly part of Rotary. You may want to consider and find out why the person left. But there are clubs, and we've named it. Stevenage Grange, for example, had the meal, and then they have the business part afterwards, and people come in to that business part. They are still very much part of Rotary. So does Hemel. So there's a number of ways that you can address that particular concern about the costs. As we say, there is a cost of living crisis at the moment, or people are feeling the pinch, so to speak. But you can certainly address that. You're also back to the subject about Rotary money on that. It's you're getting good value for money within Rotary because you get access to all the Rotary database, all the Rotary information on that. And one of the sad things which we will get out now is that when we looked at our new members, half the members who joined in the last 2 years, half of them have not been shown Rotary View, not been given a Rotary account. That means that they are not getting the full benefit of Rotary out of that. So one of the things to go back is speak to your new members. Are they aware of the fact that if they do have a My Rotary account, they can do all sorts of things? For example, we know a good example is that anybody can go to any Rotary club. So how do you find out how to do it? There's an app which we'll talk about in the last of these sessions called Rotary Club Locator. And if the British public or anybody just clicks on it, it will give you the address of the Rotary Club. What you really want to know is how to contact that person, but that is behind the Rotary Secure wall. So you put in your My Rotary details and you get in. So that's an example of the things which people can get for their money. If you're particularly interested to know where your money is going, then you will find that your voting delegates and your presidents will all have been given access to the general report of RGBI, and it's on it's there, and you click on it, and they give a good breakdown of exactly where each percentage of your money goes, and you'll see that it is actually being quite well spread. Also, by being part of Rotary, you can of course apply for foundation grants. So there is benefits back to your community of doing that. And again, we'll touch upon foundation grants in the third of these on that. But that gives you some idea of what you can say and what people can say on that. David, you're always a good advocate of the joys of My Rotary. Would you like to expand on what in the bits I've missed out?
Yeah, sure. I would like to add that with regards to Rotary's connection to the clubs, my learning in Rotary only began when I got engaged with the district team. For the first 2 years as a club member, I only knew about my Rotary club. For whatever reason, my email address had been put in wrong, so I didn't get any of the emails coming from the district or from Rotary International, and therefore I was quite insular within the club. And then it was during a conversation with the sponsor, my sponsor, who said he was going to be club president and I agreed to be his vice president, that I met some learned people in the district team who then took me under their wing and then said, well, you need to know about this about Rotary and you need to know about this. And wow, it was a real surprise. And then your learning truly begins. Now, when you get up the ladder and you start to work at district level, and then you meet the Rotary Great Britain and Ireland team, during that journey, then we get exposed to dealing with Rotary International in Chicago. And they are full-time employees who are dedicated 100% to looking after the clubs. They know what's going on, and Rotary Great Britain and Ireland and Australia are under pilot projects at the moment to try and reverse this decline. Elsewhere in the world, Rotary is growing because it is seen for what it really is, the powerful network with high integrity, second to none. And our foundation is so highly rated, it's 4-star Charity Navigator rated. And that means it's been audited. To get its 4 stars, it puts it in the 1% of top charities in the world. And we've got that for 18 consecutive years. And the reason that the Gates Foundation donate on a 2-to-1 for what we put into end polio is because Bill Gates, and I quote him, says, Rotary's integrity, stewardship, and transparency is second to none. So if you've been operating within your club level, Roy, then you will only know about your club. I would encourage people to have a look at other clubs, go and visit other clubs, and dare I say, help get involved with the district team, and then your Rotary journey will really begin, and you'll see it is tremendous value for money. And those of us that have gone on to do bigger things with Rotary, they're now investing in us and taking us away, because then we can have the intense training that you need to do the senior positions. Like Kendall has been off recently to International Assembly. We're doing District Assembly, but obviously then scaled up. All the district governors from all over the world meet up for a hard week of intensive training so that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. So hopefully I've just given you a little idea about the bigger picture and how Rotary are actually connected to your club. Your club might not be connected to Rotary.
Mhm.
Just
Okay.
to build upon what David was saying there,
Oh.
if you look at our mission statement, which is a bit longer, it ends with the bit to make a change and in ourselves. And that's something which people in age of pressure and WhatsApp's pinging the whole time, you do need to develop yourself. And I had no idea that when I joined Rotary that one day I would become a district governor. And I'll pick upon Barbara, who had no idea when I inducted her, but she too would be district governor. So we're all examples of people who grasped it. Amanda, when I chatted to her first, you'd never dreamed you would be this. And some of the other people I dealt with who said no idea that in their 70s and 80s, they would become Facebook experts on that. Claudio, you wanted to raise a point. You're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just a point and also a question. I understand where Roy come from, because many clubs, although we know that we don't have to go to the meals every time, and that's costly. I mean, it's £1,000 a year, more or less, if you're paying £20 a week. I do get that. And also there is a pressure for some members to say, well, you need to be here. And I understand that, because in Rotary, if you are present, it's kind of forming friendship. I do get that. And for some people, the paying all that amount of money is not possible. But at the same time, I feel that you could attend only a certain amount of meetings for the meal, but all the meetings that after the meals, they are free. And so I think that's one of the issues that we need to tackle sometimes with some of the members. Some of the members, they go to attend the meals because that's a friendship thing, and perhaps the only thing they do in the week. But I feel that there is a choice there. So leaving that side, I've got a question for David now. You mentioned that it's awful to hand checks on photographs and so on, but is there any tips or maybe a booklet with information about what can we do to make the handling of things fun and the papers can actually pay attention to it, or something similar?
Great question, Claudio. Thank you for that. I'm going to put onto the chat for everybody to download and we'll put it onto the bookshelf as well within the next couple of days. A wonderful resource. So the Rotary magazine, we did a special edition earlier this year, purely on public image, and that tells you how to get good at storytelling, the mistakes to avoid, the caution, you know, and I touched on it just briefly on copyright infringement. And let me just expand on that. The club in question was from Scotland. They shared a post from another charity, okay, and they all said, we'll share that. And it was as innocent mistake as that they shared a picture, and a matter of 2 weeks later, through the post came an invoice from a solicitors in Belgium, on behalf of Getty Images. Now, Getty Images are the biggest in the world, and they have chatbots just watching for copyright infringement of pictures that are being put on social media. And their bots are so clever. Even if you've cropped the picture and even if you've distorted it slightly, they can show that the origin was their picture with a copyright on. So an invoice came through to the club initially for €5,000. It's not a fine, it's an invoice for breach of copyright. And the Rotary Great Britain and Ireland team helped the club appeal against it. They negotiated it down to €500, but it came with a caveat. And that caveat stated that they had to remove from their archives any prior reference to any of the images that they'd used and shared. Now, they did the first thing and take the post down, but sadly they didn't do the second bit and go into their archives. So 6 months after they'd paid this €500 penalty charge or invoice, they did receive a €5,000 invoice, and they did end up having to pay that. So this magazine will explain that in detail. If you're really keen to learn more, we have a dedicated YouTube channel on Rotary Great Britain and Ireland, and there are 1 hour specials hosted by the specialist advisor team for public image that go into things like copyright and branding infringements, and it helps the club stay compliant, because at the end of the day, the officers of the club can be held personally liable if they do things that are that far wrong. So hopefully, Claudio, I'm going to be able to upload this PDF of the public image special that deals with each aspect of it, and it will give you great ideas on how to tell vibrant stories where people want to come and learn more. Okay.
Yeah, just to build on that, some of the simple things to do, and this is an example, don't just have, for example, we gave £50 in polio now with a check. Just say we gave money, we gave £50 in polio now, and that got 750 vaccines for children, so 750 children won't have to worry about getting paralysed. It's building that story about it. And that's just a simple example. And in the magazine article, which you can get also, if you join my Rotary, you can access all the magazine articles because it's behind the firewall, but you can actually get there. So just build a story around that. I'm conscious that we are at time from that. Wendy, is there anybody I've missed out, or anyone who's violently waving anything?
No, there are no further hands up. There's a comment in the chat from Bob Harris about the point about meals, and he's saying they no longer have meals at their meetings for Hitch and Tile House. Food is available where we meet, but personally he rarely has more than a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard the references that from a subscription point of view, it's just it's the cost of a cup of coffee. What makes it expensive is the meals quite often.
Yeah.
So
John Hammond has made a
unfortunately they're having to pay a rental charge for their room, which means their costs have increased significantly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I would say look for another venue, but that's not always that easy either.
Yes, yeah, venues, yes.
Been a
On
real
that.
challenge post-COVID. Some of the Milton Keynes clubs, literally lost their venues overnight. So, yeah.
It's, yes, as we say, Wellingarn City, I'll point out, have 4 different venues and setups. I think it's 4.
Yeah.
2 of which are free, and because they've got a lot of expenses, this week one of their venues is walking around the lake.
Yes.
So that was
yes.
it. You don't necessarily and chat to one another. You don't necessarily have to have them face to face. There are ways of doing these creatively to cut times and money. I will call it to an end now. Hopefully, you're seeing on the screen the next event, which is youth programs, which will be led by Claudia. Foundation International will be read by Bob Harris, and then Vernon and myself will come back to demystifying Rotary tech and apps and other useful things you might want to know about Rotary. So I'd say thank you for your attention. Good night, and hopefully see you either on Saturday or this time next week for part 2 of this. So thank you all, and good luck and enjoy your Rotary.
Right.